Stay Valid student, my name is Confident. Welcome to our revision session, and this is the review as well as the revision of the Mathematics N1 question paper. And this question paper was written in August 2021, and some of you just wrote this paper a few days ago. And if you are watching this channel, please remember to subscribe to our channel, as well as to comment on our videos. Maybe you are one of those guys who just wrote this paper. Just give me some comments on how maybe the paper was to you. Was it an easy paper? Were you able to go through the paper without some struggles? Or the paper actually brought in some new questions that we're not familiar with? And if it is those questions, just send us which questions do you think were not covered in this channel, which you think I can focus on in this coming term. Some of you already have managed to pass this particular paper and you are moving on to your N2, and also just leave us some comment how this channel has benefited you in approaching this Mathematics N1 paper in your final exam. And if ever there are some additional things or or topics or areas of content you think were somehow neglected in this channel, this can be a good opportunity for me to cover them, so that it can help others who are also coming to be watching this channel. So again, guys, those who have written the paper, I say congratulations in advance. I hope you ace this paper with more than 80%. It is not a difficult thing. It is possible. You just need to remain focused, dedicated, and diligent. Now, let us look, as I said, at this review. And it's just as I'm doing this review, this paper was written a few days ago, in as much as it is written here that it was supposed to be written in on the 23rd. As you can see here, it says it was supposed to be written on the 23rd of July. Actually, guys, we are in August. This was postponed due to the current pandemic that we're going through. So the exams were supposed to be on the 23rd of July, just 2 days before my birthday. My birthday is on the 25th, and it was just supposed to be written 2 days before my birthday. And unfortunately, this was postponed. It was not the case, as you have seen with most of the things that are happening because of the coronavirus. So it was postponed and written on the 2 days ago, and I think 2 days ago is the 16th of August. So yeah, this was the paper requirements of this paper. You were given a graph paper so that you can be able to answer this question. And then it says non-programmable calculators may be used, and in this case I use my normal scientific calculator. That's what you can also use for your own exam. So that is that part. And then says this question paper consists of 6 pages and a formula sheet of 2 pages, as you can see. So that is that part. It consists of 6 pages as well as a formula sheet of 2 pages. So as I was mentioning, this is the calculator. When they say non-programmable calculator, this is what I use. I use my Casio, so that's what we'll be using across. All right, so let us look at a few things. As I said, this section is in 2 parts. I'm going to be looking at the review, just go in general across this question, and just analyze it to say, if you are the one answering that paper, what did you come across? And if you are actually preparing yourself for the exam of next exam that you'll be writing, just be on lookout of some of the things which you might have taken for granted. So this can actually be a very good revision, just going through the paper in general to say, if I'm going to be the one sitting for that exam, what am I expecting? So let us look again at a few things. This paper is a 3-hour paper, as you can see, and it's out of 100 marks. And the instructions on this paper, as you can see, says you need to answer all the questions That's the first instruction. Number 2 says read all the questions carefully. It's a simple instruction, but sometimes you guys take it for granted. You end up answering what the question is not saying. Number 3 says number the answers according to the numbering system that is used in this question paper. So avoid coming with your own numbering system. Now, if it's 2.1.1, so avoid now coming with 2.1.1.1. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is now your extra numbering. Just either use bullets or use 1, 2, or 3 if ever you needed to say pointers or whatever bullets, or if they say list, maybe they say you need to list a certain number of whatever, but I'll show you as we approach this if ever we cover that part. And then number 4, it says keep subsections of questions together. That is also important. Now when they're saying subsections is, you'll be given, let me give you a scenario of subsection. A subsection is, for example, this is question 1. So question 1, this 1.1, 1.1.1, 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, 1.3, these are subsections. So they are saying when you start answering question 1, make sure that you answer question 1.1, move on to 1.2, move on to 1.3, then go to 1.2, then go to 1.3. So you need to go in that order. Avoid a scenario whereby you answer question, for example, you answer question 1.1, then you don't know question 1.2, you jump, you leave it, you jump to question 1.2. After jumping to question 1.2, then you remember, you know the solution of question 1.1.2. Then from here, you start answering, and between 1.2 and 1.3, you are now answering 1.1.2. That is not keeping the subsections together, so you must avoid such. So they are saying you need to keep the subsections together. That's what they're saying there. And then number 5 says start each question on a new page. So if ever they will give you an answer book, so when you're moving to the new question, make sure that you just, even if there is a lot of space remaining, as long as you're moving from question 1 to question 2, not subsections, but from question 1 to question 2 to question 3 to question 4, you can do that you need to do that on a new page. Number 6 says use only black and blue pen. Please, no Tipex. Students like that, you'll be penalized. It's an irregularity. No Tipex, number 1. Number 2, no colored markers or pen. So avoid trying to make your work look neat and beautiful. Find that you want to answer question 1.1 and then use a different marker for 1.1.1. You want to use those blue, those green, those orange, or just those different markers. So avoid that. So no Tipex, remember, no colored markers. So these it looks good, your work will be looking good. You find that you have colored your work, but it is not necessary. And then if you're going to be answering a graph paper, use your pen and your pencil. All right. And then the other part that need to bring to attention is the rounding off. It says round off final answers. See, final answers to 3 decimal places. This is by default. Leave everything to 3 decimal places unless they indicate otherwise. And then question 8, it says answer question 5.3 on a graph paper. So the invigilators, they will provide you with that graph paper. So whenever, if they are not given, lift up your hand and ask for a graph paper, and they'll give you that particular graph paper. And the last one, simpler, and also sometimes, because of different handwritings and stuff, they say write neatly and legible, meaning make sure your presentation is neat and make sure your handwriting is neat. I've got a terrible handwriting. I hope it is not as terrible. I mean, it is terrible than yours, guys, because I know my handwriting is terrible, but I hope yours is a neat handwriting. Don't write like you are hanging on a tree, guys. You see, you think you're writing as if, they usually say it's a doctor's handwriting, whereby, the doctors are using that handwriting so that they don't want you to actually see what they're writing, because that prescription must only be read by them. They don't want you writing your own prescriptions and going to a place to buy prescription. That's why they use difficult words and that cursive handwriting that you can't even read what's happening. But you guys, I know your handwriting is neat, which I hope so. Not like someone who is hanging on a tree trying to balance with one hand, like you're doing some gymnastics and stuff. So make sure your handwriting is a neat handwriting. All right, so as I said, this is a two-part lesson. I'm reviewing this paper. How was the paper? Was it a difficult paper to you? How did you fare in that paper? If you're going to be writing this exam, if you're going to be preparing for the final exam, just see how they structure the question paper and the latest trends that are happening. Now, question one. Question one, it was divided in two sections. These are the subsections 1.1. So you've got 1.1.1 and 1.1.2. The first part, as you can see, says simplify each of the following without a calculator. So don't use calculator, by using exponential laws. So what they wanted you to do here, they wanted to see if ever you are able to use laws of exponents. And as you can see, the first question was on exponents. You needed to use the laws of exponents, and just by recognition there, mainly you're using the first law of exponents. I'll just cover that also after this. The first law of exponents. Now you can also find that where I cover these laws on my mathematics books, which I call Mathematics N1 for the underdog. It comes with videos. That particular book, I do a lot of videos, as well as the book is very, very clear when it comes to laws of exponents. So law 1 was applicable there, and again in here you're using again the laws of exponents. So it was 4 marks the first one, and it was 3 marks the second one. And then 1.2 again says simplify without. So without means no calculator, but now you're not using laws of exponents, you are looking at logarithm laws. So it says simplify without a calculator by using logarithmic laws. So you're given again a question there. It was simple using a simple laws of logs. And then 1.3 says solve for x without using a calculator. In this case, it was now an equation, but again focusing on the laws of logarithms, and those are equations involving logs. So you're able to get your 4 marks, and now the total of that section, as you can see, it was out of 15 marks. These were good 15 marks, which I think you could have scored all those marks if ever you did your revision well and you're prepared well for these exams. Now, I've got some students sometimes who get wondering to say, what are those signs for? Look at this. There is a star in this paper. So they ask, what is it for? Like sometimes you find like an alien face, and you find different shapes that they bring time and again in each exam. This is their way of uniquely marking the paper. So that's what the Department of Higher Education does for every paper that is released for that block, whether it's math, science, engineering, science, industrial electronics. It has got its unique mark. So in this case, they decided to use that mark for that for this paper for August. So there's nothing really special about it. It is just a way of uniquely marking this paper. Now let us look at question 2. Now question 2, as you can see, is 2.1, and this particular question, what was it dealing about? Long division. So this was the long division. And if you still remember, when we're talking about long division, it is this part where you are saying you've got x plus 2 And in here, you see how they put it? They put it in a way that is mixed up, but you're supposed to start with 8x cubed, which is the highest power, followed by the smaller power, which is 35x squared, followed by x, which is plus 26x, and then followed by the number 24. So this is how you're supposed to do that. So you work your way down and you will have a number there, which is what will be, so your answer will be there and divided by that. So that is what you're supposed to do. And look at this, it's 7 marks, guys. Long division means is a good thing to do. If ever you are prepared for this question, this was a good 7 marks. All right. And then the other one, it says from, meaning from this you're supposed to subtract. What are you subtracting that? So the key thing there was these signs, the negatives in here, and then so you were having your 7x squared. That was from, so we start from that 7x squared plus, actually it's minus in this case, so it's minus 3xy plus 9y squared. You're supposed to subtract, and when you're subtracting, you have a bracket of negative 17xy minus 3x squared plus 13y squared. Forgetting this bracket, you are out of the game. So I'm going to be showing you how you're supposed to do that after this review. So that is that. Looking at question 2.3. Now question 2.3 here is also 3 marks. It says remove the brackets and simplify. See, not only are you going to remove the brackets, don't forget to simplify. So removing of brackets is when you open it like that, you open it like that, you open it like that, you open it like that. But don't forget this 3. It is the one that you must be watching out for. How do you treat with that 3? Because that 3 will also influence your answer. And after opening that bracket, make sure that you collect the like terms, simplify them, and this is your 3 marks. So in total, this gives you 13 marks. It was not really, I can't say it was really difficult, but what you needed to do, you needed to be on the watch out of this part. You needed to also watch out on the negative on this part. But on the third one, it was mainly routine problem where you needed to simplify. I think as the examiners were setting this paper, they were kind of, even this question is not complicated if you know the steps of long division. So it's more of a routine problem, just that it is long and it requires you to be very careful. On the other one, it's also something that they needed to check. Do you respect your negative sign? So if you don't respect this subtraction sign, then they're going to catch you napping there. Don't be caught napping, but we're going to look at that as we continue. Now look at question number 3. Question number 3, what was it dealing about? Question 3.1, it had 2 subsections. 3.1.1, it says fully factorize. This is the question. Fully, meaning if you leave it partially, you lose marks. So you need to fully factorize the following expressions. So first one is 3 marks. It is also a standard one, but you also needed to know what to do. When are you supposed to do what you need to do? That's the first one. The second one, as I looked at this, I will say NB, and I'll put stars on this one. You needed to be extra careful the way they brought it. That's why it is 4 marks. You will take it for granted, but if you don't carefully work it across, you will leave out the part which says fully factorize, because you will work it 1 step, then you go to 2 steps, then you forget the last part, which is the 3rd steps of fully part. And when you do that, you'll be penalized 2 marks, if not 1 mark, depending on how the marking guideline was. But the part of saying fully factorized, it is the key thing that they wanted to catch you on there. So that is 3.1. And how about 3.2? 3.2 was on fractions. And guys, you need to know fractions. Fractions is divided into two. There is the multiplication and the division, which is usually go together, and there is the addition and the subtraction also, which goes together. And this part, it was looking at the addition and subtraction of fractions. I cover that in detail also in the curriculum for Mathematics N1 for the underdogs, which comes with videos. It is a good section for you to be careful. For you to be able to master. Look at this, it's 5 marks, and it was not really complicated. You needed just to know a few things. If you knew what you're doing, you're going to be able to answer that. But you need to also be careful on fractions. You see, they can be in a way simpler to do, but they can actually confuse you if you don't take care of them. Now, looking at the next question, okay, that is the end. Let's look at question 3.3. So the question 3 is still continuing, but now we're looking at question 3.3. And question 3.3, again, it had subsections. It says determine the following from algebraic terms. All right, so determine the following. They give you two algebraic terms, and then the first 3.3.1, you see, you need to express this in prime factors. Says the prime factors of each term. Prime factors are not even a problem. Actually, this can be done simple with a calculator. You can literally use the calculator and just write the answers. That's why they say 3 times 2, meaning each section was 2 marks. So this part, there are 3 of them. Now each one was 2. The next one says you need to find the lowest common multiple, LCM. Again, from the answers in the calculator, you find the LCM. If you know what you're doing, again, it's not going to be complicated. And the next one is the highest common factor. Again, from what you got from the calculator, you can find the highest common factor. That's why it's 2, 4, 6. Hence, it is 6 marks. It's one of the sections which had most marks, 18 marks in total. But guys, this LCM, HCF, this 6 marks, it is a must. You need to get all your answers. So you need all your 6 marks. Don't lose 6 marks on this section. Make sure that before the exam, you prepare thoroughly. Look at our previous videos that we have been posting on LCM and HCF. Make sure that you revise this time and time again. I hope we are still together, guys. So far, it was a fair paper. Not really something to crack your head on. If you really prepared well, so far all those marks, you would have been adding them to your bank account. Now, let us look at question number 4. You are now supposed to, 4.1 says solve the following linear equation. Okay, this is on equations now, and equation simple needs you to be good with your algebra, and you're given this equation. And what I think it needed was number 1, you needed to know how to expand on this equation. So expansion was important. How to expand? I'm talking about opening the brackets. I'm talking about opening of this bracket. I'm talking about opening of that bracket. But there is something that they were including in the brackets. Be careful of that negative sign. Be careful of that negative sign. That's where students make errors. That's the first part. Number 2, they were checking if ever you know how to collect like terms. So that's the next part that they were trying to check you on. Were you able to collect like terms? And the last one is the final part where you're solving for. You solve equation whereby you are doing the last step, but the major 2 steps are the ones that they were checking on you there. So that is the question 4.1. What about question 4.2? Says manipulate the formula to make y, okay, y the subject of the formula. So let me look at this. So it's ax plus y squared is equal to c. Okay, this was basic. You can get your 2 marks. That's why it's 2 marks. It's not complicated in here. And then number 4.3 says use the answer in question 4.2, so it was related to what you did there. So use the answer in question 4.2 to substitute the following values to calculate y. So now you are given, you need to find y, and then remember you've got ax plus y squared is equal to c. So they gave you the value of x, they gave you the value of a, and where is the value of c? So that is says determine the value of y. So they did give us the value of c. It's in something that is not, just take note of. You are going to have your answer remaining with a c in it, but I don't think that is what the examiner expected here. I think there was an error here, because they needed to give you such questions. You are supposed to get x to substitute there, you're supposed to get a to substitute there. Remember, you're looking for y. Now where is c? No c, meaning they forgot, or they wanted to leave your answer in terms of c, which is not common. So I think there was an error, but anyway, whatever answer you're going to leave, you leave your answer in terms of c, you get those 2 marks. All right, let us move on to the next part. It's question 4.3. It says, 4.4, at what speed did you travel if you took 8 hours to cover 9,000 kilometers? This is basic. You are using the speed distance formula. Remember, you can use even this triangle here, which says speed s is equal to distance over time. You can actually use this. It can help you to find, it says at what speed. So speed is distance over time. You have your distance, you have your time. It was just standard, basic. You can just get your 3 marks without any sweat there. The next one is 4.5. Now question 4.5 says the difference between 15 times a number and 3000 is 0. So this is a word problem. So remember to check our word problems and how you prepare that, and then says what is that number. So here that's where you say let that number be x, and then you solve for x. You see, this is 4 marks. Well, I will say in this section it is one area where you needed to be extra careful. Students usually struggle in this area and they usually avoid such questions, but if you prepare well, you can actually try to do your best in this section to come up with the equation, and you solve that equation, and 16 marks. You can go to the bank smiling that at least from 12 to 16 you got something from the question. So it is in a way a good question 4, which I think made some of you smile if you're the one writing that paper. But as I said, we will look at that. Now next question is question number 5. Question number 5, it says given you're given that it's a fraction xy, and equal to 1. Says 5.1 says write down the question in standard form. Now this question somehow knocked me off. I think I started mixing a few things. If I was in the exam, I also was going to mix a few things without having gone through my revision properly, because now when they say standard form, mostly it's tempting to leave it as y is equal to mx plus c. This is not the standard form, this is the gradient intercept form, because you have the gradient and you have the intercept. The standard form is ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So you needed just to leave your answer like that, so be careful on that part. Watch out for the standard form part. Then says determine the gradient. It's 1 mark. Now that's where also it's funny, because the first one was going to give you easier for 1 mark. You can see the gradient after expressing in the gradient form. You can see the you can see the y-intercept. You see, it was going to be easier, but well, you needed again to express this in the gradient intercept form, so that you know the gradient and so that you know the intercept. It was in a way, I would say, question that did not follow each from 5.1. You see, such questions you expect them to follow each other 5.1 gives you 5.2 and 5.3, so there was no kind of linkage there, but well, they wanted to express it like that. But for 1 mark and redoing some of the things, I don't think it was necessary there. But anyway, it was something that you could get your marks on. Question 5.2, you are given xy is equal to minus 3. If you still remember, this is a hyperbola, so this is a graph or the hyperbola. Then says 5.2.1, write the equation in standard form. Remember the standard form, it's y is equal to a over x. This is the standard form of a hyperbola. You needed to do that. In which quadrant is the graph drawn? Now there is a negative sign. Remember, these are the graphs whereby one is drawn in that quadrant and the other one is drawn in this quadrant. So we're going to look at from these which one was which, and then what is the name of the graph. Oh, we just did that to say it was a hyperbola in that part. So again, a good question, guys. Something okay, still continuing. There is 5.3 because I was asking myself what is the total mark allocation for that. So 5.3, it says use the table method to draw the graph of that. For the domain, they give you the domain. These are the x values on graph paper. So they're saying x is from -4 is less than x, x is less than or equal to 2. You need to know how to interpret that less than. You need to know how to interpret the less than or equal to, because if you interpret it wrong, you'll be penalized there. So that is NB for these 5 marks. And also says all values at the point of intersection with the system of x's. So they're saying all values of points of intersection with the system of x's must be shown, and again it is where your marks are. If you make an error, you will lose some of the marks there. So that is 13 marks. If you knew what you're doing, you could have actually gone home smiling with those that section. Question number 6, and usually question N1 is up to question 8. So when you're in question 6, you are almost there and you are ready now to wrap it up. So question 6.1 of 6 says name 2 conditions for 2 triangles to be congruent. So this is about congruency. If you knew that, you'll get 2 marks. And then they say find the length of AC if AB. So you're given AB and you're also given BC. You needed to find the hypotenuse there. And if you remember, this is the theorem of Pythagoras that you're supposed to use there. So if you knew that, it wasn't really something complicated. You're just going to easily input Pythagoras, and I think you have the formula for the theorem of Pythagoras that you can use. We'll check the formulas. And then 6.3 says name the properties of an isosceles triangle. Again, a simple 2 marks. Now that's when I was saying whenever they say name the properties, if it's one property, if there are more than 2, you use bullets, or you say 1, you say the property. Number 2, you say the property. You see, this is not coming with your own numbering as such, but the problem is when students are in 6.3, they'll say 6.3.1, they name the property. 6.3.2, they name the property. Now you are coming with your own numbering, because you see this is linked to a new set of numbering, but just use bullets. It is better than you coming out with your own numbering, which is not given. So that's what I was saying, to say when they give you something in the beginning, don't come up with your own numbering system. Question 7, it says here a straight 7.1, a straight board ramp is being designed to cover a horizontal distance of 6 meters. So there is that part with an angle of elevation of 3 degrees. Then you can see that angle of 3 degrees, it is being shown there as 3 degrees. And then says find the length of the ramp. So here they want, this is the ramp, so you're supposed to find this particular distance, you can see, and then you call that distance x. If you knew, but I'll say NP, be careful, because this is now your trig, and in your trig, if you remember your SOHCAHTOA, this is what you needed there. So be careful. Remember your SOHCAHTOA. If you knew your SOHCAHTOA, you needed to be able to solve that. But it's a section that I say to students, be very careful. That's why it's 4 marks. You can say that to solve that. And 7.2 says simplify without a calculator by using special angles. There we go now. Special angles is 3 marks, and then they give you cos 30 over sin 60. You can actually use your calculator there to say, let me quickly find cos 30. See this? And then you're saying over sin 60. So equal to 1. The calculator, you already have to test it. It's giving me a 1 now, but don't use the calculator. That's why I say without. If you use a calculator, it's no mark. But now what can you do? Then you go to those special angles. As I said, these are the formulas. So with this, look at these special angles here. I think I've made it too much now. So these are the special angles. They even write to say special angles. So they wanted you to look at 60 and 30. So you need to know how to approach this as your special angle. And as I was still mentioning, on that part, there is the theorem of Pythagoras, and you're given a triangle, as you can see that. For you to the right angle triangle, there was a question of the theorem of Pythagoras and the ratios of angle theta. This is the SOHCAHTOA that we're talking about. That's your your TOA that I was mentioning. You also needed to know this section, and once you know this section, you're good to go. Nothing is difficult in this part if you knew what you're doing. So this section, in a way, dependent on you having fully understood this section of trig. And then also so that was question 7.2, and 7.2 was out of 7 marks. You can see that part. So if you did well, that is what you were supposed to have. Now let us look at the next part. And the next part now is question number 8. And question number 8 in here, if I just expand there, this is, I think, the last question of this paper, question number 8. And question 8, you are given 8.1. You're saying given AB, they give you AB, BC, and EF. So calculate the area of the parallelogram. So you are given a parallelogram and you're asked to find the area. So in these questions, go to your formulas, and in these formulas, after you study them carefully, you will know that most of the formulas for the shapes are there, and already I've seen the parallelogram. Look at it. There is the area. It says area is base times perpendicular height. So you need to go to the question and find the base and find the perpendicular height. Now that is what they needed you to do there, to say from these two, which one is your base from these two. So you need to be careful, and this you can see is the perpendicular height because there is our 90 degrees there. That is 2 marks. You are just supposed to apply the formula. You see, you need to apply the formula. So you write the formula and substitute the relevant numbers. Then 8.2, you are also given a shape here to say the illustration shows a right triangular prism. See, they give you the name of that shape. It's a right triangular prism with the following measurements. They give you those measurements. They give you that. They give you that. Now, it's a right triangular prism, and they say calculate the perimeter of ABC. So what is ABC? If you look at it, this is your A, this is your B, and your C, and they're telling you it's a triangle. So again, go to your formulas and look for the triangle. What are you given under the triangle? You can see there is our triangle, and they give you the perimeter. It's A plus B plus C, meaning you have to add the sides so of the triangle. This is your A, this is your B, this is your C. So in actual fact, the perimeter is the distance right around this case. So it's a matter of knowing this side, adding it with that side, adding with that side. So that was that. Is again 3 by 2. Look at the mark allocation there. They're saying 3 by 2, meaning each section, this is 2 marks. The next one says calculate the area of rectangle ACDE. So you come here to say what the rectangle, this is your A, this is your C, this is your D, and that is your E. So that is the rectangle. Now you need to go again to your formulas and say, do I know the area of a rectangle? There is a rectangle. What is the area? It's length times breadth. Come to this part, identify your length, identify your breadth from these two numbers, and then multiply, you get the answer. So you're simple inputting the values that are already given and being able to know which value to use, and you get a 2 marks. And the other one, 8.2.3, calculate the volume of the prism. So remember, they gave you the name of this kind of prism. They say it's a right triangular prism. So again, go to the formula, look for that shape of the right, the name of the shape, a right triangular prism. So there it is, right triangular prism. And they're saying for you to find the volume, it's half base times height times length. So you need to identify B, H, and L. So you come here, ask yourself, which one is your B in this case? Which one is your B here? Which one is your H here? And which one is your L here? So that's all. If you know your height, you know your length and your breadth, then again it's a simple substitution there and you get your 2 marks. But again, and B, don't mix these 3, don't mix them. If you mix them, you're going to be getting your answer wrong. Why am I saying that? Look at it. You have got 3 here, but you've got 4 lengths. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you put 1 wrong here, unfortunately you make an error and you won't get your 6 marks. And then the last one is also another word problem. In here says Tabo wants to buy a cell phone at the beginning of the month. The phone cost this amount. When Tabo finally got his salary at the end of the month, the cell phone was on sale. So it says, what percentage of money did Tabo save? So here it's mainly on percentages. So that is the part where also N1 covers this part of percentages, ratios. So this is the part on percentages, and it's 3 marks. If you have also gone through our videos and revision, you will be able to see some of these sections where we cover things like percentages and ratios. Again, it was not a complicated one. You just needed to know what to do in that case. This was 11 marks. And look guys, this is the end of this paper. This is out of 100, and I don't know you, out of 100 marks, what will you give? What will be your mark out of 100? And that's what will be given for your final exam. I know students always say, but I wrote some tests which contribute to my ICAS, but usually the ICAS doesn't contribute. These days they don't even add it to your final mark. They just use it to qualify, but the mark that you're going to get here will be your final mark. So that's your final mark usually that you're getting, is what you got in that final exam. So it's out of 100. What did you get? Or what are you earmarking to get? Use this paper to revise and see from the answers that I'm going to be giving in whether you are also getting similar answers. So you can give yourself this as a test. After I've given yourself as a test, go through your answers against mine, and then we compare those. I can also make errors. Remember guys, it's not like my answers in the way the final answers. Even these guys who are doing the memorandums, you will pick a lot of errors from them. So don't also think that all these are correct. So you sometimes need to take them with a pinch of salt. They can also make errors, but it helps you though to know how the approach was by going through those memorandums. So yes guys, this was the paper. It was written in 2021 for the July-August exams, and if looking at it in overall, it was a fair paper. It wasn't really complicated. It just needed you to be, in a way, more extra careful on some subsections, and knowing what to do through your revision was very important. Now, for the sake of our students, now let me make this clearly to you guys. As I say, this is a review. It is not a section where I'm working on the memorandum. It's just a review to say, if you're working on this paper, this is looking for what was in the paper, and this is what was in the paper. But now, let me go through a few questions. But now, let me actually do this first before I go on. Remember, we have got two types of students in our channel. Now, let me emphasize this. We've got two types of students. We have got all our students who are following our channel, who have subscribed. We really thank you guys for subscribing to our channel. It helps us to bring such videos to you guys, and it doesn't cost you anything. So what we are interested on is you guys learning as much as you can from the channel, benefiting from the channel, and the only thing we're asking you to do is share the channel with your friends. Press on the subscription button so that you're subscribed and you get notification every time we post some new videos, as well as turn on that bell so that when there's a new video, YouTube will notify you. So that's all that we're asking from you, nothing else. Only thing is to subscribe, become part of our family, part of our group, so that as you're progressing with your mathematics, now we're adding new subjects like engineering science, you now start benefiting from almost all the subjects that you'll be doing. We'll be adding other new subjects as time goes on, but for now it will be new engineering science has been added. Now, then we've got a second group of students. This second group of students, I call them my I don't know what to call them, but we are saying these are our supporters of the channel. These guys who are saying, we appreciate this channel and thank you for bringing this channel to us, and we want to see this channel continuing. We want to see this channel assisting even other people out there. So what they've done is they joined our memberships. So there is a membership thing that they've joined. So with the memberships, what they're doing is every month they're contributing not much, but I think it's around 99 Rand or 66 Rand, depending on the level that you are in. I think N1 starts from around 59 Rand a month, just to say thank you for this channel. We want you to bring more videos, and then remember to maintain the channel is costly. There are equipment that I need to bring in these videos, the editing softwares, the monthly subscriptions that I need to do so that I can be able to bring you more and more of these videos. So these are guys who say, we want you to go on, bring this channel to us. We are benefiting from this channel. We are ready also to contribute just a little bit. So now for these, my fans, our members, our family. So this is, just like in your family, you have your closest family. It's like you have a circle, and then you've got your inner circle. So these are the closest people to you. So these close people, they usually get first-hand information. And then obviously you have your extended family members, which they are also very important as part of your relationship. But now this group of people, which is your closest friends, which in our case also is our closest members, we call them those who have joined our membership. They usually have extra benefits that they need just to appreciate them, to say thank you guys for your commitment every month to support this channel. So what I'm going to be doing to them, I will be doing a full mathematics N1 video with all the suggested solutions that I have done. So they will be the first to watch this. I think it will be for them for a month or two. Unfortunately, guys, I'm not able to bring this to everyone. I can only bring it first to my members, who are in this case our membership, who have joined the channel. If you have not done so and you feel like I also want to help, go through our membership, just check on our channel, or send us some questions on how to join. I'll also respond, but it's there on our channel. Look for membership and you can join there. You will see YouTube has a way of going through the payment thing. We don't handle any payment, they do that. So I will do the whole N1 paper. It will be available for you at a later stage, but for them, I'll be there to be the first one to know, to see it, to go through it, you know, just as I said, as a way of appreciation, to say, look guys, we appreciate your contributions. So I'm going to be posting it in the next couple of days. They'll be having this full video, but this one that I'm doing here, it is going to be available for everyone who is actually our members. Also, to appreciate you, I'll do just a few questions, just touch one there, and in a way so that you can see how you could have approached this part. So thank you again, our members, for subscribing, as well as thank you again for our special inner members for also contributing for this channel. So let us look at a few things here. Let's start with question 1.1. You know, it's 1.1. So let me start with that. It was saying you're supposed to simplify B3, and then they write it as, let me not just work on this writing, but let me quickly do it straight like that. Look at this question. So what is happening is this question 1.1, this exponent here, you see the 3 is multiplying and the 3 will multiply. So what you'll have B, 3 times A was supposed to be 3A, plus 3 times C, it is 3C. You see, times, you do the same thing, this multiplies, you've got your B now on the second part, which is B. 3 times minus A, it's negative 3A, and then 3 times minus C is negative 3C. As I said, you are using the first law of exponents, which is A to the power of X times A to the power of Y, same base. What do you do to the laws of exponents? They say to use exponential laws. Remember, here the instruction was clear, use exponential laws. So this is the first law, which is A to the power X plus Y. So that's what you're going to be using here to say, you've got the same thing there, you've got your B, now you add the exponent, which is 3A plus, but when you're adding, look at the like terms, 3A plus minus 3A, and then plus 3C plus minus 3C. So when you're adding, also bring the like terms together. So 3A minus 3A, this cancels. 3C minus 3C, this cancels. So you have B to the power of 0. But now you need to know any number to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So we're going to mark you there, mark you there, mark you there, and mark 1. It's very important to end it as 1. If you leave out as B to the power of 0, it's not complete. So that is the part that you could have done. So let me do question also 1.2. As I said, I'm just jumping through, just looking at a few questions. This is 1.2 is 4 marks. So how are you going to approach it, guys? It's logs. Now, with this question, you needed to convert 25 to say this is minus 5. Okay, by the way, how do you work this? They say without a calculator. I like these questions because the moment they say without a calculator, I take my calculator and say, why are you saying I mustn't use a calculator? I'm going to use that calculator. And the answer that I'm going to get is the answer that I have to work towards. So I already have an answer. So let me work my way towards the answer. So this is the calculator part, which I'm not supposed to do, but I'm doing. The answer is 10. So you see this, I'm supposed to get 10. So now let me prove how they got the 10. So as I said here, you recognize that 25 is 5 squared. So what you have is minus 5 log in base of 5 of 1 over 5 squared. Why am I putting it in 5 squared? Look at this 5. That is your hint to express the other one. Now, there is a law. This law says if you are given 1 over a to the power of m, that's the first law, what is it? It becomes a to the power. If you take this to the top is negative m. That's law number 1 they want you to check there. The second law is, if you are given that you need to use, if you are given log a to the power of m to the power of b, now this b, you can drop it down so that it becomes b log a in base a to the power of m. So that is number 2. What is law number 3? All of it is applicable in that question. Law number 3 says, so when it comes this side, it will multiply. So it becomes b times. If it finds a number, it will multiply that number, as in the case of minus 5 there. But you'll see that the next law is, if you are given log in base a of number a, if the base and the number, they are matching, the answer is 1. So we're going to use those 3 laws in that order. So number 1, we're going to take 5 to the top, is minus 5 log in base 5. 5, now we say it is from positive, it became negative, so it's 5 to the power negative 2. So that is the first part. The second one, now we take this 2, we drop it to join, let me just do it clear here. We drop this negative 2, drop it to come and be with the 5, but when it comes and multiplies. So it's minus 5 times minus 2 log base 5 of 5. You see what's happening? That was number 2. What about number 3 now? Number 3, we are now in this part of a and a, but in this case we have 5 and 5. So it's minus 5 times minus 2 times 1, because this becomes, you can put a bracket and say this is a 1. So it's like I said, it multiplies. Remember when I said the b there is multiply. So after that you have got minus 5 times minus 2, which is 10, and remember that's the answer that we got on that. So that was that answer. I'm not going to do question 2, question 1.3. Let me see, how many marks was that? It was out of 4 marks. It says simplify without using a calculator. I'll do it when I'm doing the full video of that. Now the long division is another one here that was interesting. It's 7 marks, and I just want to do you this 7 marks, guys, just to see how you're supposed to approach this. It's also not complicated. What you needed to do was to arrange it properly. Start with the x cubed. Let me just erase that. So start with the x cubed, you can see. So number 1 is that one. After x cubed, it's squared, that is number 2. After squared is just x, that is number 3. And then after that is the number, that is number 4. That's how you needed to arrange that. But remember, you are doing this in a long division version. So you start with 8x cubed plus, take the signs also, 35x squared, and then plus 26x, and then it's minus 24. Then you are divided by, see that? Then you put your x plus 2 there. And when you start doing your long division, how do you go about? We are saying x into 8x cubed. So I'm just going to do it once, but you repeat the process every time. So you take your 8x cubed, you divide by that x. Alright, so you say over x. Now when you cancel the x, that is 1, there are 3 there, you cancel one of it, 2 will be left, so it's 8x squared. So you put that 8x squared on top there. Then after you have done that, that is the first part, you take this 8x squared, so you take it here, say 8x squared, and then it multiplies the item there, so it's bracket x plus 2. So I'm saying that it must multiply, so it will multiply, so you put a bracket and then you say x plus 2, meaning this will multiply and this will multiply, so you'll have 8x cubed. So this will always repeat, remember, Then after that one, the second one is plus 8 times 2, which is 16x squared. So this is what you write here as 8x cubed plus 16x squared. Are you seeing that? Say now when you've done that, you rule off, underline, and put a bracket. You're subtracting now. So 8x cubed minus 8x cubed, this will always give you a 0 in the first part. Then you're saying 35x squared. So you're saying 35x squared, which is this one, minus this one. So it's in this case it's minus 16x squared. So in the calculator, you're simply saying 35 minus 16. That's what you're simply doing in the calculator. So what is 35 minus 16? Let me I can just do that and say 35 minus 16. You can use a calculator there. Now this is 9. So carry a 1 there. So this is more like 19. So 19 plus 16 I think is 35. So it's 19. So which means in here you're going to get 19x squared, right? So that is the first part. What I just did, you repeat the same steps until the end. So what do you do? Now you are here, you are saying, okay, before that, take this 26, bring it down with a sign, and you say plus 26x. So now you are here. So in that, you're going to say 19x squared, and then after that, you are dividing again by our x, like what we did at first. So the x cancels, there are 2 of them here, 1 will remain, so it's 19x. So you say plus 19x. Then after that one, 19x will come here and multiply the first and the second, as in a way you are expanding. You are saying 19x into x plus 2. So you multiply that, which is 19x squared. You multiply that 19 times 2, which is 38x. So this is what you write here as 19x squared plus 38x. Again, remember, minus, in this case, put a bracket and rule off. 19x squared minus 19x squared, it will always give you a 0. 26 minus 38, so we've got 38 minus 26, which is 1. So it's 12, but remember the 38 is bigger, so it's minus 12. Just use your calculator, guys, in this part. So we've got minus 12x. So in that minus 12x, now we are bringing down 24 with the sign, which is negative 24. When you've done that, the process repeats again. So you see, we are repeating the same process. Now we have got that minus 12x. We are dividing again by your x. So this is now towards the end. You have done most of the heavy lifting there. Cancel the x and the x, you're left with 12. So, but look at the sign, it's minus 12. Again, this negative 12 will multiply the 2 of them there, as we did previously. So you're going to say minus 12 multiplying x plus 2. So it's x plus 2. So you've got minus 12 multiplying in minus 12. So it is negative 12x. Negative 12 times 2 is negative 24. So when you multiply, you are having now minus 12x minus 24. Again, subtract, put brackets and rule off. Minus 12 minus minus 12, this is becoming a plus in a way. So minus 12 minus 12, as I said, it gives you a 0 here. Use a calculator again. Minus 24 minus minus, again it will do the same thing. It will give you a 0. So this is the end. And how do you write your answer? I need to still see that. So you have got this part which was dividing. So it's x plus 2. and you have got that top part, which is I think it's your quotient, which is 8x squared plus 19x minus 12. So this is how you write your final answer. This is how you write your final answer. So when they said divide this plus this, your answer was supposed to be that. Now you need that as the way. That's how you solve it. Now there is a micro oven way. By saying micro oven, there is a quicker way, but remember, if you're in N1, you need to go through the steps, but in N3, you can use this method later. Just I'm using it to make sure that I didn't, my answer is correct. It's very quick. So what I do, it's the same thing that I did here, whereby I put my division. So I just take the numbers, which is 8, then the other one is 35, but after arranging them in order. Then after that is 26 with the signs. After that is negative 24. So that's what I'm having. So now, when I've done that, I look at x plus 2. So x plus 2, I equate it to 0. Take 2 to the other side, which is x is equal to minus 2. You agree with me? When 2 changes from positive to negative. So that's what I'm going to put there. It's minus 2. How do I do it? First things, this 8 goes to the top here. I put that 8, and then now I multiply 8 times minus 2 plus 35. So it's 8 times minus 2. Then I add, there is the sign for adding, which is plus, I'm adding 35. So what is 8 times minus 2? It's minus 16 plus 35. You see what I'm having there? So it's more like I'm saying 35 minus 16. So if I say 35 minus 16, so this is 35 minus 16, I do that. There I get a 9, I get 19. So I say plus 19. I do the same thing. I take 19 to the other side to multiply that minus 2. So it's negative 2 times 19. Now I'm moving to the next one, which is plus 26. Now negative 2 times 19 is negative 38. And then negative 38 plus 26. Remember, I'll take the sign of the bigger number. If you subtract these, it's 2 and 1 is 12. So the answer there is minus 12. You repeat the same step. Take the negative 12 to the other side to multiply minus 12 minus 2 times minus 12. Then you say minus 24. Minus 24. So minus 2 times minus 12 is positive 24 minus 24. This gives us 24 minus 24. It's 0. So you've got plus 0. So you see what you're having? You've got 8, 19. 8 plus 19 minus 12. So you see that? Now you started with x cubed. You say x squared. You have got x squared. You say x. Where there is x now, we've got nothing now. So that's how it goes. You see now that you have that answer 8x squared plus 19x minus 12. So it's a quicker one. I call it the micro oven one, but it's only good for higher grades like N3, where they don't give you marks like 7 marks. They just give you 2 marks for doing long division. That's where you do that. But anyway, that was that part. As I said, guys, I'm not doing much of this. Fully factorize the following. I can do that. Simplify the following. I'll do that when I'm doing the whole. So now, yes, this is question 4. I'm looking at yeah, let us look at 4.3. I want to choose 4.3 and 4.2. As I said, there was an error somehow though in this question. Look at 4.2. Says manipulate the given formula by making y the subject of the formula. So we are given y there. So what I do is take ax to the other side. So I've got y squared is equal to c. Ax is positive, it becomes minus ax. See that? But how do I now make y the subject? So y squared, to remove the square, you square root, is equal to square root of c minus ax. So when you say square root, you say plus or minus. So you have got now y is equal to plus or minus square root of c minus ax. Do you see that? So that's the first part. You get 2 marks for that. Then the answer is, if the answer, use the answer in question, there is that. In question 4.2, to substitute the following values to calculate y, they are saying x is 33 and a is minus 2. So you're going to say y is equal to plus or minus square root of c minus a. They are saying it's bracket minus 2. And then x is 33. So I hope you are seeing what I was talking about in that analysis. So y is equal to plus or minus square root of c, now minus 33 there, so it's minus bracket minus 2 multiplied by 33. You see, I'm getting a 66, so it's c plus, it's a positive 66. So I can't do anything further because I'm not given c. They were supposed to give me c, I believe. I think they forgot the c there. We can debate it. Well, you're free to comment, tell me your thoughts, but I think they were supposed to give us a c there. But anyway, your answer now is y is equal to plus or minus square root of c plus 66. Give me your thoughts, what do you think? And also question 5, just if I can just choose a question there. On question 5, I think there is a simple one that I can just do without much time, because my time is gone now. Look at this. It says 5.2. Yeah, let's look at 5.2. It's not difficult. It says x, y, z. Write the equation in standard form. So guys, if they give you this part, it's 1 mark. I can't see the mark allocation now because of the size. So you just divide by x. You divide by x. Cancel there. So you have your y. So it's y is equal to minus 3 over x. That's what they mean when they say standard form. That's the first question. In which quadrants is the graph drawn? That's the second part now, the quadrants. When you're drawing this graph is like that. So you've got your y, you've got your x. So the graph, because of this negative sign, it will be in that part. Let me do it properly. It will be like this, and remember, it mustn't touch this. So this is the graph in quadrant, because this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, and this is quadrant 4. So you see where the graph is? It's in quadrant 2 and 4. So here you're supposed to say 2 and 4. But now, if there was no negative, and instead of this negative there is a positive, the graph was going to be in that and that. So if it is positive, it's quadrant 1 and quadrant 3. So you need to know that. What is the name of this graph? As you said, this is a hyperbola. So these are hyperbolic graphs. Hyperbola, know your what do you call this, even your spelling, how to spell it. Okay, let me look at this. We're looking at this during our review. Let me clear up what we're looking at. Just a few things here. Okay, you need to draw that. We'll do it in the next part. 2 conditions for triangles to be congruent. You see, that's what I was saying. If you're given 6.1, so what you do is you're putting the bullets. What is the conditions for congruency? Now, congruency means if I have a triangle like this, I must have a triangle also like that. By congruency means this side must be equal to that side must be equal to that side, and this side must be equal to that side. So all 3 sides must be equal, number 1. Number 2, what is the other part for congruency? This angle must be equal to that angle. This angle must be equal to that angle, and that angle must be equal to that angle. So all 3 angles must be equal. So these are the conditions of congruency there. Then here is Pythagoras theorem. Name properties of an isosceles triangle. is another one that I want us also to bring. An isosceles triangle is a triangle like this. For example, you have, let me use something much straight. If I'm drawing an isosceles triangle, I'm talking about something like this, and there's something unique with it. This side is equal to that side. So name properties. Property number 1, two sides are equal. Property number 2, because two sides are equal, these are angles, so these angles also are equal. So opposite angles are equal. Those are the two things. That's why they wanted you to give 2 marks there. And also, that is question 6. Let me see, question 7. They wanted you to use special angles, and these questions you need to be very careful, but I'll cover this. It's a very important questions. I'll cover this in the videos, the full video. And lastly, we are now looking at this part here. Question 8 was a bit longer. They wanted you to, like for example, 8.1, calculate the area of the parallelogram, and I told you to go to your formulas, and we saw the area of the parallelogram. It's base times perpendicular height. This is what we used. So if you come here and say area is equal to base times perpendicular height. Now base is this part, this becomes our B, this is our perpendicular height, so which is 2,5 times 1,8, and if we do that, it will give us what is important. Actually, when we are working with such questions where they usually check you on, it is the part to say, when you get this question, how are you going to express your answer? So it's 2,5 times 1,8, 2,5. You see, it's 9,2, which is 4,5. So the answer there is 4,5. But area, you need to know the proper units. So don't say centimeters, but it's square centimeters. These units can make you or break you. So you don't want to just write 4,5. After doing all this work, you forget the units. Your answer is minus a mark. So don't forget the units. And with that, you could have continued with these and continued with that. But anyway, guys, we have come to the end of our lesson, and I hope this was of benefit to you. It was a review mainly, and I wanted to touch a few things that are in there. You can use it also as you prepare for your final exams, but watch out for the whole video from question 1 to question 8 in the beginning. We will upload it for our membership members. Then later, in a few months time, we will also make it available for you. So if you want to wait, you can, but if you feel like you want to have an access to it, just join our memberships and then you'll be able to watch it. We've come to the end of our lesson again. Thank you. You are one of our most valuable students. Thank you.